name is Amanda, and this week I'm going to complete my backstory of my illness. So if you didn't see the first half, I highly suggest seeing that, and I'm going to leave a link to that video in the description box below. So without further ado, we're going to finish this story that is kind of crazy. Kind of having some weird things going on with my story, so we're going to finish that up. Soon I started having to use a cane to walk. A friend of mine that I had taught to scuba dive made me a cane, and so I started using that. I had been using one of my dad's old canes, but it was too tall for me, so it looked stupid. But this guy made me this cane that was really beautiful, but I hated using it because it kind of was like a giant sign that said, hey, guess what? This person's disabled, she can't walk properly, and everybody look at her. Which I had quite a few people look at me because of that. So then I started having to use the motorized carts at the store. I could no longer walk around a store. And that's when cruel comments started. I would have people tell me that they were disgusted that I would dare fake an illness just so that I could use the carts. I had people make fun of the fact that I was holding one person, one hand, and then my other hand was using the cart, and that was they're like, oh, look at you, don't you think you're so cool driving with one hand? And I don't understand why you're making fun of me. I need this. How else am I supposed to get around this store to get food? But then the comments started getting more and more personal to me. I had a person in line tell me that they were sickened by me and that just looking at my face made them want to vomit. Yeah, that was a great comment to make me feel good about myself, and I ended up sobbing in the parking lot, and that happened a lot. I dreaded the weekly grocery shopping trip because I knew I was going to end up in the parking lot just sobbing because people were really mean. And so my sweet husband decided that it wasn't worth continuously putting me through the misery of getting groceries. So my husband has done the grocery shopping for at least 3 years now. I haven't gone grocery shopping since. I have gone on other shopping trips, but not grocery shopping. So, and I still, if I can avoid the motorized shopping carts, I avoid them like the plague. Because I look young, I look healthy, and the comments just continuously come to me because people think they have a right to tell me that I have no right to use it when I do. My health continued to deteriorate, and my left hand has become pretty much useless. I drop things a lot with it. I can barely hold my husband's hand with my left hand, and so whenever he comes up to hold my hand, he's like, oh, wrong hand, and then he'll go around to my right hand where I can actually like grab onto him. My tremor also got so bad that I could barely hold things anyway. Luckily, that tremor has gone away for the most part. It was pretty bad for quite a while, and luckily only every once in a while does it come back, so I'm glad for that. I spent more and more time in bed, unable to move, and that's when the pain began. It began in just little spots where it just kind of hurt. Maybe a joint hurt, or my back hurt, or skin hurts, like my face hurts a lot. But it would migrate on a daily basis. It just kind of chooses. And now it's a running joke where I basically say, oh, my foot has decided to hurt today. And my husband doesn't even ask, did you do something to it anymore? Because we all know that I didn't. But then this pain started to increase and spread, and it just spread all over my body, and I couldn't stop it. And over-the-counter medications stopped working altogether. I would just sit in tears trying to deal with how much I hurt. But it was because of this that I became a world-class actress. I should get an Academy Award for my acting skills because I learned how to smile and fake that I was okay. when my soul was being crushed. And I wanted to just fall apart, but I couldn't because there were people. Unfortunately, this skill comes with some downsides. When you're really good at faking that you're just fine, on days that you absolutely cannot fake it, that's when people start to get angry at you. And they're like, why aren't you here at this activity? You were doing this yesterday. Why aren't you doing it today? And it became this constant battle of wanting to be the way that I used to be, but realizing that my body was not going to let me. So that was a skill that I've had to learn how to tone down quite a bit, because the expectation of being fine for most people was starting to hurt me physically. I tried desperately to stay active, and I would push myself beyond my limits. I tried cycling. I got a recumbent bike so that I wouldn't fall off the bike. And I would ride that in the hopes that, okay, so cycling, I'm not gonna fall off it. I'm gonna be on this bike and it's gonna be fine. And I'll just push through the pain. But I was finding that I couldn't go very far before I started wanting to pass out. Like, the darkness was coming in my vision. My heart rate was going way beyond what it should have been. Everyone kept telling me that the best medicine was to continue going, push through the pain, stay active, and it turned out that that was the worst advice ever. But I'm going to cover more on that later. I was able to go through the grueling training to become a PADI scuba instructor. And it was a dream of mine. And I didn't want to give up just because my body was giving up on me. And so I decided that I was going to get through this training. And my body was bruised, it was broken, and I sobbed almost every night during the testing weekend. There were times that I couldn't remember how to do certain things, because part of the testing is also an actual written test, and there's like physics and physiology and testing on gear and whatnot. And I could not remember simple mathematical formulas to remember how to calculate things. And my husband would sit with me every night and we would go over it over and over and over. And I'm sure he was so frustrated because my brain was just like, I don't get it. But I took that test and I passed. And that is probably one of my proudest moments, was passing that certification. Because with all the scuba diving skills and the written test skills, I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. And I was proud of myself because it was a really sweet moment because of how hard I had to push myself to get my body to do what needed to be done. And so I am proud to say that I am a certified PADI scuba instructor. And yes, accessibility is possible when it comes to scuba diving. I still teach classes every now and then. It doesn't happen as often as I would like, but mainly that's because of my health, that it doesn't happen very often. And that's one of the things that I'm able to cover up that most people don't understand or don't realize. When I have a class, you know, I make sure that it's once a week. There's no back-to-back diving days. I have people to pick up and haul things for me so that I don't have to pick things up. And most students just assume that that's just how instructors are, that classes are like that. You just have one class a week and oh yeah, you have assistants that pick up crap for you. When in reality, a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm handicapped. It also has to do with the fact that my other instructor, who is my dad, is also handicapped. He is a wounded veteran, so 2 handicapped people in one dive company. So we work around things. So I was crushed by the thought of the fact that very little was known about my illness. Very little research has been done into my illness because a lot of people still view it as not real It is very real, guys, very real. So enter my wheelchair. I am what you call an ambulatory wheelchair user. This means that I can walk short distances for the most part. I fall into walls a lot and whatnot, but I can walk short distances without assistance. Anything longer than a few minutes and I will need my wheelchair. So this also brings on the fact that once you are in a wheelchair, people view you as non-human and they think it's okay to stare. I have had so many people stare at me when I'm in my wheelchair. I've had people walk straight out in front of me while I'm in my wheelchair and refuse to move because they're busy looking at me. And so my husband has to go around them because they won't move. I also scared a small child who, when she saw me, screamed, grabbed her mother, and yelled, "Mother, it's a monster!" So that's one way to make you feel really good about yourself. I also recently was at an aquarium in another state and we were looking at some fish and some children decided that I was an inanimate object and they climbed on top of me to look at the fish. And we asked politely, "Can you please get off? You are hurting me." And they just looked back at me like I was a crazy person. And we asked multiple times. We even turned to their parents, "Can you please get your kids off me? It really hurts." The mother did nothing, so my husband wrenched the wheelchair backwards and the children fell off. Well, yes, I'm gonna get yelled at for being cruel. We did ask multiple times to have the children get off me. Okay. I can't complain too much about my wheelchair though, because it has given me more freedom to actually get out of the house and still have a somewhat normal life. And I just recently got a mechanical wheelchair, so I don't have to rely on my husband pushing me all the time because I cannot physically really move the wheelchair on my own because I have very little strength in my arms. So at the beginning of last year, I decided if I couldn't be seen by the Bateman Horne Center, then I was going to join their research study that they were having. So I signed up for it because I figured that even if I couldn't get help for myself, maybe it could help somebody else. And I filled out the survey and I was accepted right away. And shortly after being accepted, I got a call asking if I wanted to be seen by the clinic. And apparently they had seen my age, which for someone diagnosed with ME, I'm still pretty young, even though I'm in my 30s. But they decided that the best thing would be to see me as quickly as possible because they have better results the younger you are. And I cried with that news because of course I wanted to be seen. So I started being seen by them. My appointments were long and grueling, and most of the tests that I had done before were done again. And it was 2 days of this intense, grueling testing, and I was completely wiped out. And I could barely keep my eyes open during the interviews with the doctor. But I was just really happy to finally be seen by someone who knew what they were talking about. And in the end, I was given a 19-point list of things that I needed to do and medications I needed to take. Not all at the same time, or not all at once. Let me say, I am now taking all of them. And he made an appointment for 4 months out. So what did the doctor say? I definitely have ME. I also have POTS, which is postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. And he gave me tips to keep that under control. And he also gave me a lot of hope. No, I will never be the same as I was before, but I could have a life if I followed the tips and tricks that he gave me. And I cannot overexert myself. So the whole like push through the pain, push through it, exercise, yada, 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 worst advice ever. Because if I do that, then
my brain will swell and it will send horrible signals all over my body, and I'll pay for the activity for days afterwards. And if I continuously overexert myself and never give my brain time to heal, then it can start causing worse symptoms, and in the long run could be devastating to my body. So for every activity I do, I have to rest and recuperate. Easier said than done. I'm going to be talking about the differences between Emmy and POTS and PEM in other videos, so you can understand all of the technical whatnots that go with this. So here I am, years down the line from when my symptoms first started, and finally I know what's wrong with me. But my body continues to deteriorate, and I am now losing sight in my left eye due to optic neuropathy. And that was caused by the migraines that I have. And I keep getting frustrated every time some new symptom comes up, and I am really tired of every symptom that kind of shows up. And many tears have been shed for the life that I used to have, and I long for who I used to be. I want to be that person again, but I know that that's not going to happen. But I am determined to live the best life that I possibly can. And true, it is going to be a lot slower. That is why I really love sloths, why I really love tortoises, why I really love panda bears. They all seem to take life really slow. So they are my spirit animals. I'm gonna be a lot slower in my life. I can't do any heavy lifting. I can't do building anymore. I used to love working with my hands and building things, but I can't do that anymore. But there are still things that I can do, and well, yes, it may take me a lot longer than it used to. I still can do some of the things that I used to love. And sometimes simple tasks take me an eternity, and my brain doesn't seem to want to focus long enough to do anything. So I end up just sitting in quiet solitude because my brain doesn't want to do anything and I can't focus for very long. But I still can get things done. It just takes me a little longer. I am still me, but in an older, slower body. So imagine a 34-year-old in like an 80-year-old's body, and that's pretty much me. I have had people stop talking to me because they find my illness awkward. I've lost quite a few friends that no longer talk to me. And they seem to think that they don't know what to say to me when they do see me. And I will tell you exactly what you should say. Exactly what you used to say before I got sick. I am still the same human being, just in a much slower body. I'm still the same weird person. I still have my weird quirks. All the things that we had in common before, we still do. I may not be able to do the things that we had in common, but I'm still interested in those things. And to anyone that is struggling with illness, you are not alone. And to anyone dealing with someone that has an illness, please remember who they were and to love them for who they are. So now you know the adventure I'm on and the adventure I am still on, and hopefully that gives you a little insight into my existence. I will say that I am still me. I am still the same human being. I still love to have fun. I love to have adventures. And every once in a while I will go on an adventure. I will pay for it dearly, but I look forward to my adventures that I have. And I truly do want to live the best life. And hopefully my experiences can help someone else out there that needs to know that they're not alone, that there are people like them, that there is a life after being diagnosed with ME. So that's my story, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.
The biggest thing that I want people to get from this is disabled people can look just like everybody else. We can put our makeup on, we can do our hair, we can dress up, and we can look just like Jane Doe going down the street. So please remember to be kind to everyone you see. Just like I say, every single time. Kindness is free, so give it out to everyone. And I will see you next time. Bye.
But everybody kept telling me that the best let's start that over again because that was dumb. My brain just went dead. Guys. I think I need a drink of my salt water that I have to drink. Flavored salt water. My congestion is getting worse, guys. Just sitting here, and I don't understand because it goes in waves and it's just so stupid. This is like the dumbest thing ever and I'm going insane. Systemic I'm gonna have to start that over again because I can't read. Neuroimmune condition. I don't think I've ever said that out loud at the Bateman Horne Center. I need to cut that out. That's not. I'm a special human being, guys. So through my research, I found out that research into ME was very limited and very little was known about it. What? And that you could still something ending to this that I didn't write down, so I have no idea what I'm supposed to say.
So at the beginning of this story, you're gonna hear about my work. The camera is slowly sliding down. Oh my goodness, we're gonna have a dance party. Oh, my camera's slowly going down. Okay, that needs to not happen.